Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Build Series. I'm your host, Cole Delbick. A long time ago, we used to be friends with a little show on UPN called Veronica Mars, and then it turned into an unstoppable and full-blown cultural phenomenon. Thanks to a small but dedicated fan base dubbed Marshmallows, the series has returned for a brand new season on Hulu with everybody's favorite private eye all grown up. And at her side is Jason Dohring's Logan Echolls, one of TV's all-time greatest bad boys. Over the course of 3 seasons and 1 fan-funded movie, Logan evolved from Veronica's high school tormentor to her biggest champion in a love story that could only be described as epic. Jason is here today to talk about this twisty new chapter and, yes, that devastating bombshell ending, which will take me years of therapy to recover from. So before we bring out Jason on stage, let's take a look at a clip from the new season of Veronica Mars.
I'm not poor.
Dude, I looked up what you make online. You're kind of poor. You offered to be my personal trainer.
You know, Mr. C, I know someone who can remove that for you.
Remove it? This is a badge of honor, my friend. I was inked up by Manny Six Fingers Delgado doing a dime for aggravated assault. Let me tell you something, I show up at a meeting with a bunch of bankers, sleeves rolled up, those number crunchers get a look at that, instant upper hand.
Let's give it up for Jason Dohring, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. The new season is so good. I'm obsessed with it.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you.
I want to just start out this interview with a major spoiler alert. I don't want any angry fans in my mentions because we need to get into this new season in every sort of devastating detail because we Marshmallows deserve some answers.
Oh, okay. I'll see if I can provide them.
I just first want to know, how are you doing? Because I am not okay. I will never be okay. And I'm thinking of starting a support group for aggrieved Veronica Mars fans.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I'm doing great. I'm still alive, so I'm not dead. I had some of the producers and people reach out like, Jace, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, guys, I knew about this like a year ago. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy. I gave everything I had to this character when I was on the show, and you know, just the creation part of it is what I'll miss. You know what I mean? And being with that family.
What was it like to be at ComicCon over the weekend? Because they actually surprise dropped these episodes a week early. And I know sort of Twitter went wild, fans went wild. What was it like to be in that room when Kristen announced that?
It was great. I mean, there were 4,000 people there. It was awesome, and that's probably the tip of the iceberg because people hear about it around the world. You know what I mean? And then watching it, but I think the coolest thing is that I've always heard that it's scary to watch a reboot or something like that because you're like, gosh, I hope it has something of the original show that I liked. This revival has been very cool, and I think we kept up the quality, and I've tried to keep it up over the years, which is so rad. And probably my favorite thing about delivering it to the fans is that even the movie, I was like, it's good. I could tell people it's good before they saw it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so before we get into the new season, I sort of want to reflect on your journey. You've played this character for ongoing 15 years, and I imagine you've developed sort of an emotional attachment to him. So I know you originally read for Duncan Kane, but what attracted you to Logan, and why do you think you were such a good fit for the role?
Originally read for Duncan. I was watching like a lot of like dark stuff, like James Dean stuff. So I went in and read for the role of like this, her boyfriend who's the straight guy and just, tried to move around and do cool dark stuff, and they're like, nah, it's not good, why don't you take this part and go work on it in the hallway? And so I worked on it, and I was like, oh, cool, I like this guy. And I liked the volatility, I liked and the emotionality, the hate, how he enjoyed that. And then it was so beautiful, man, because the writers were able to really, in a cool way, now write this character in a totally different direction and have a romance with the lead, which was not intended, and yet seems organic because it was. And really pleased to do like 5 different aspects of different people rolled into one guy.
Yeah, I mean, so in those early days, you were all in San Diego filming the show before it really picked up a fan base. Do you have any memories from that time? Like, do you remember the first scene that you shot? Because I think when we first meet Logan, he's in the cafeteria. Veronica's described him as a psychotic jackass, the school's obligatory psychotic jackass, and we see him with Duncan sort of messing around. Do you remember shooting those scenes?
Yeah, and I just remember like trying to be so loose and free and fun and like having a great time. And I think that was the one note I would get from the director. He just turned me loose. He was like, "Have fun, man. Have fun. Do it. Go. Okay, roll it." You know what I mean? And you know, I just tried to like just let loose, you know, and it was great because she's so powerful and strong, you know, on the other side of it. So it's like, no, I'm more. And then she's like, no, you're wrong. And I'm like, yeah, no. You know what I mean? So we would just have this back and forth, and it created this cool, like crackling sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Kristen Bell has like chemistry with everybody she comes in contact with, but yours was particularly off the charts. So what is your sort of dynamic off camera, off screen? Like, is it similar to what we see?
Oh, like, am I sleeping with Kristen? No.
You heard it here.
No. I mean, we're just, you know, she's the ultimate professional, as I hope that I am as well. And, you know, keeping it like that is really cool because when you wind up doing a creative something with another person, there's sort of a love that happens anyway, you know what I mean? And it's like, I respect this actor. We made something together, you know what I mean, that's beautiful, and we can share in what we've delivered to the fans. And I think that, yeah, I'm just so proud and happy that she got it, you know what I mean, because, you know, I think it wouldn't quite have been the same.
I want to take a quick trip back to Neptune, California, circa 2004. We're in the Camelot Motel,
Okay.
infamous, the site of Love's very first kiss, Logan and Veronica for the uninitiated.
Okay. Spoiler.
When did you, what was your reaction when you first learned that they were going to pair you up romantically?
I heard this is the internet, and we said, what the fuck? We couldn't quite believe it, and because we were so against each other completely. And I tell the story that the producer said you have to warm up to her. And I said, okay, I can do that. You know, I mean, I had no idea how to do that because I'd built this just hate, you know. And I have to put my hand on her shoulder and I have to say, like, thank you for making this something. And, I did a couple rehearsals and I did it, you know, and I'm like, thank you. You know what I mean? And they're like, Jason, they came up to me after rehearsal and the producer said, you have to touch her. It was so hard, man. I'll tell you, it was so hard because it felt like not my integrity as the character to touch her. But that was part of the warming up, so I got to it, and it worked out. And then, we had this moment that I feel was really based out of like care and love, rather than straight romance, which is beautiful. And I think the nicest way to start a relationship is like, I'll take care of you and I care about you. You know what I mean? And I think that at the bottom of it all was sort of that, in my opinion.
I mean, both of your performances in that scene, they're so beautiful because there's this like raw vulnerability there, and then it's actually a really special shot in the show because it's almost this sweeping crane shot of the motel, and you see you two embracing. Do you remember sort of what that day was like?
You know, it's very funny to be an actor because there's a lot of stuff that you don't see. You know what I mean? Like, you're just seeing her and you're having like this little moment, and then you see it back and there's this huge crane shot. It's coming down the stairs. It ends the episode and there's music. Like, you don't hear any of that stuff. You don't see it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if I'm just sitting here on a chair and the camera slowly pushes in and it looks like I'm having like a moment, I mean, you can control a lot of that with light, and there's other communications involved rather than just your performance. So, you just try to kind of control what you can, and then, that's why probably they say that, it's a director's medium because he's controlling all these things, But that aside, you just try to play it honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a stand-up moment. And to say that Logan and Veronica have become a fan-favorite couple is like a major understatement. This is one of like the greatest TV ships, I think, of our time. Do you and Kristen sort of feel how precious that is? Or do you really take a lot of care because you know how much this means to the fans?
Yeah, I've always like had an affinity for her, and playing these roles, and like I just look at her. She has like a little twinkle in her eye or smile or whatever, and I just see that, and I'm like, oh, I'm happier. You know what I mean? And it's just cool. I can just play it. But I think that, I mean, I feel. I don't know. You hope for that, and you try to create it as well as you can. But I feel like just the idea of creating right now and being present, with what's happening, and I don't know. It's like you're in total communication with the person.
Are there any things that you love to a Marshmallow-like level? Any TV shows, any pairings, any movies? Like, what is your favorite show?
Do your shoes count?
Oh, Jason, stop it.
Get a close-up on those babies. You know, I guess I appreciate acting in that way, like where, you know, doing good work, you know, I really, I like that. It can be the best thing and the worst thing. Like when you see yourself do bad work back, you're just like, oh my God, I want to die, you know what I mean? And then the reverse is also true, where it's like you put your soul into something and you see it. And I felt like on this show, nobody watched it. Like when we first did it, like I felt, you know, because you didn't meet certainly any of the people that were watching it. They weren't like living in San Diego next to me. You know, it wasn't like a popular thing. So to come on now, and it's grown with each level and more audience, it's freaking awesome because they get to go back and watch your good work that you worked so hard on, you know what I mean, that people may have never seen, you know what I mean? So I'm happy.
Well, the fan-funded movie was sort of a major turning point in this journey. I donated $30 to it.
Yeah. Sweet.
What was that like to return to Logan as a very sort of new, different, evolved character? He's now this reformed bad boy, a naval intelligence officer. Were you sort of surprised that that was the direction that they took the character?
I'm glad they took that as the direction, because where are you going to go? You know what I mean? He's so broken, and he lost every member of his family. He's, you know, just had a horrible life. So to go the route of discipline and, like, you know, coming together and pulling through it all, I think is cool. And the way that, you know, in this fourth season, the way he sort of used that to help Veronica turn too from where she started and to help her on her journey, I thought that was very well used.
And I was sort of thinking of how the movie serviced this new season in a sense of that I don't think this new season could have been so adult, so grown up, really went for these bigger, more sort of mature storylines had we not done sort of the nostalgia fan service in the movie. So do you think in some ways this couldn't have existed had you not reunited for the movie those couple years ago?
How do you mean exactly?
Just that this iteration seems very just unburdened by the expectation of we need to give the fans this. We need a reunion episode. We need Veronica to punch the queen bee in the face. You know, those type of pleasure points as fans that we really want to see instead of what, you know, the writers and the creators think is best for the show.
Yeah, totally. And I think there's two things there. Nice bag, by the way. Is that the Veronica Mars bag? Oh, you had it first. I dig it. I had these shoes first. You know, I think that the first 3 years of the show, people loved that, you know what I mean, which was the writers and all their sort of ideas. And then, you know, you had sort of, the fans bought the movie, so what are you going to do, you know what I mean? You want to include everything that they'll love, you know what I mean? And I thought we did that while still giving a good story and keeping, you know, what quality we could there. And then, you know, Hulu bought it, so now the writers get to go back to what they want, you know what I mean, and what they want to do and tell that story. But I think that, you know, that reflects the first 3 years, you know, of the writers sort of doing what they want. I know there was a little bit of a difference because, you know, coming episode by episode, you can hear what the fans do and write to that. But when you write 8 episodes in a row, you don't know what the reaction will be until you have to drop all the episodes. So you make it and hope for the best. But I think it's turned out really good so far, and it feels like a lot of people are saying it's like our show, which is so beautiful. That's what you want to hear.
One of my favorite, I think my favorite part of the new season is the moments that we spend with you and Veronica, because it was so gratifying as a fan for so long to see you guys work through all that adult stuff, to see those growing pains. Was it really a kind of a nice challenge to sink your teeth into some of that material?
Yeah, totally. And I think that there was one scene, and I haven't heard much about it, so it probably turned out differently than it was in my head, but where we're on this couch together, and I'm saying, like, you know, if you're not happy, then you got to move on with your life. And I was working on that in my room, and I told my wife, I'm like, honey, I'm literally crying reading this, because I think, like, it's so amazing to love somebody so much and say, I'll drop it all for you right now, if that's what you want. And I think it's like, whoa, that's intense.
I'm about to start crying.
Boom. Yeah.
Okay. Warning, deep breaths. We're going to go into those final moments. Everybody, we can do it.
It's okay, I wasn't there. I was already home, asleep.
So for those who don't know, at the end of the new season, Logan very tragically dies by the hands of the Neptune bomber who's been terrorizing the city all season after Logan and Veronica tied the knot in a sort of courtroom wedding. When did you find out? What was your reaction? Tell me everything.
Yeah, Rob was such a gentleman, and he told me well before any of the scripts or whatever, he told me he was laying it all out, and he says it was like the 4th hardest phone call he ever had to make in his life, and he said, like, you know, among the breakup calls he's had to make. It was brutal, man. I took the call, you know, he laid out the whole story, and then he said, you know, what happens, and I think I like blacked out kind of for about 2-3 days, and was just like overwhelmed. But at the same time, he laid out exactly why he was doing it, and you know, you don't want a teenage drama of them getting back together and breaking up again, and like after a while, it's like, oh, maybe too much, you know. So, and he also wanted Veronica as the underdog, you know, and I think this puts her forward for a new chapter, you know, where she's driving away and all the worlds are open to her, and maybe with a new outlook from the experience that we had together in that sort of time.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, devastating, so life-changing. But in other ways, we got their love story, right? We saw the completion of it. They wed. They finally committed to each other in a way that we'd been wanting for so long. And, you know, a part of me is so devastated by it, but part of me really understands the decision-making, because I think the show now is able to shed the skin of the teenage soap drama and then lean so heavily into these expertly crafted mysteries.
Yeah, I think that was his intention, you know, and you know, she can land anywhere, you know what I mean, in any city with possibly a bright attitude or more determination than ever, however they want to go.
I mean, to say that the fandom freaked out is, you know, a major understatement. I had watched the finale a couple weeks ago. I'm actually going to throw to a photo of my live reaction that I took by myself because I had no one to console me except my cat because I was under a Hulu gag order.
Should have called me, bro.
Jason!
I'm still here, bro.
It wrecked me. So what is your message to fans who need some sort of... Thank you, I felt it. What do you say to those fans who are so upset, can't imagine a future without Logan on this show?
Well, you know, I appreciate that. I appreciate, you know, playing this role and you know, getting an opportunity to play this guy because he was fantastic. And, you know, I have done a few Rob Thomas shows and he's fantastic, you know what I mean? And his stories are great, you know what I mean? And so I would say I appreciate it and, you know, happy to be a part of it as it moves forward.
Okay, we can take this photo down now. I have to ask because we did not see a body.
Okay.
And whenever I don't see that on a TV show, a little light goes off. I'm like, is he really dead?
Right.
Is Logan really dead?
I can't answer that question. I mean, I just took what I, you know, I think that, you know, I think that you're putting me in an awkward position here. I think that, you know, when I read it, I understand that, you know, that's it. You know what I mean? So that's what I had.
You know, the show has sort of expertly used flashbacks before. You know, the whole first season, we're flashing back to Lily Kane. We see Amanda Siegfried the whole season. Should they use this sort of tool again? Would you be open to returning?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's obviously a writer question as well. And, you know, if they choose that and it moves forward in the story or that's something that they want to participate in, you know, I'm always happy to do scenes with both Rob and Kristen. And this was, yeah, just kind of a very, very unique role, especially young in my career, you know what I mean, to be able to play. So I love him. I feel like I know him. And, yeah, pleased to be part of the family.
And I think what's so beautiful about where we left Logan is that his sort of legacy is about healing, in a sense. We first met him as this really troubled young kid who had survived all these childhood traumas, and he really picked himself up and did a lot of like work and therapy and everything, and some work that maybe Veronica has yet to do, right? And I sort of love that ending for him. And this is a little cheesy, but what would you, as sort of adult Logan say to that young Logan that we first meet in the pilot who's so sort of troubled?
Don't be a dickhead. You know that has to be the sentence. Yeah, I mean, I watch it back sometimes and I go, God, what an ass. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even believe it's that cruel. So, I mean, I'm just happy he grew up as he did and that the writers were able to write that. You know, I don't think you could say anything to a guy like that that would necessarily change him, but, you know, to live the life, yeah, and, you know, be broken and turn it all around, you know. I think that's determination, man. You know, where are you going to go? You know what I mean? So you got to push forward, you know, and I think that's Veronica Mars too, you know what I mean? Just picking yourself up and doing it, you know? I think that's why a lot of people relate to it because, you know, life can be challenging, right? And like to be able to push on no matter what and no matter the suppression, you're going to continue, you know what I mean, and get through it.
Yes. So before we go to audience questions, I want to know, you know, you've developed such a fan following for this role. I've loved watching you in this role. You know, now that you're sort of leaving the series behind, are there things that you want to get into, different types of roles, movies, shows?
Yeah, it's funny. Like as an actor, right? You'll sometimes audition for a part, and it will be so good, and you're like, if I don't get this, my career's over. Like this is the role, this is the thing. There will never be another one, and you know, sometimes you don't get that one, and then around the corner, there's like this amazing role. So you're like, oh, wow, cool. So I'm always kind of surprised and happy that it's unplanned and, you know, that you get to, you know, Logan on paper is nothing, right? Like, I mean, it's a one-dimensional sort of thing. And yet, you know, you take what you can and I feel like what ends up on the role, you have to have as your idea in one way or another. So meaning that I can bring any aspect of Logan or anything else that I imagine into any role, you know what I mean, to some degree, like you have to make it fit the writing. But it's like if you can be very broad in your ideas, then you can include awesome stuff to a role and make any role stand out, you know? And I think like that's how I was trained, and like you try to find the ups and downs and the volatility and the leading the audience this way and then go that way. And I think that just that as a style is cool, and I've just sort of adopted that, you know, so try to put that where I can.
Well, I seriously can't wait to see what you do next.
My man. Thank you, bro.
I'm going to hand it over to you guys. Here we get some. First, we actually have a tweet from Squints. What was your favorite scene you ever filmed for Veronica Mars?
Wow. I don't know. There was romantic ones with Veronica where we're sitting on the couch, like toward the end of the first season, and just in between the takes, I just enjoyed sitting there with her and just like enjoying that and really being in perfect communication, and like that was just gorgeous. You know, and then there's the fun ones where you're, you know, I don't know, we had the principal's car and we're washing it and we're making terrible jokes to him. That was great. It's all good.
You and Weevil, name a more iconic duo. I can't. I love you two together.
Thanks, bro.
Okay, we have a couple audience Q&As. Hi.
Yes. Hi, Jason.
Hi, I'm sorry.
I'm really happy to see you in person, and I love Veronica Mars. My son's name is Logan.
That's amazing.
So my question is to you, how close is Logan Echolls' character to you, and does he exist in your life?
What do you think? Yeah, no, my wife's mother had a hard time letting me be with my wife, you know. She's like, I don't know, hon. I don't know. He's a little dark, you know. So I'm not like him at all, but I like to play and like to be free and stuff like that. And I feel like I've found roles like that along the career so far that have done that, and I feel it's great. I love that. And like when Dick Casablancas came on the show, I was like, what am I? What am I supposed to do now? Like, he's the crazy one, and what am I, just playing like the straight guy? Like, I couldn't, it wasn't as much fun, you know what I mean, as an actor, right? But, so, that's it. Yeah.
Next question.
Holy cuss.
Holy cuss.
Play it again, Dick.
Yeah.
Question.
Okay.
How did that come about? Was that Rob Thomas approaching you about that? Was that the actors? Was that Ryan's idea? Like how? That's my favorite thing.
Oh,
ever.
really?
I love it.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it just came to me through Rob, and, you know, he said, you know, will you play this little role or whatever, and it was just like a little web series, And I was like, yeah, sure, you know. And yeah, showed up and did it, and it was really cute. I don't know if you saw it or whatever, but somebody else takes my part and plays me.
Best reaction ever.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I had a great time playing that, and yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
I've so loved the ways that Veronica Mars has continued to exist when it wasn't on air with these little sort of, you know, it's so unexpected and beautiful, and it shows how much these fans care and also how much you guys do.
Oh yeah, a lot of good people.
Another question.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. I just want to say me and my sister have been a huge fan of Veronica Mars since it was on UPN and CW, and I feel like we've really gotten a chance to grow up with the characters, you know, at different aspects in their life. So I just want to know, what was the biggest takeaway of playing Logan, basically? Because you saw him in high school, you saw him growing up in the movie, and then even now in the show, just a revival, he's in a totally different place than he was even in the movie. So what was it like playing him, and what's the biggest takeaway, like just portraying that growth throughout the years?
Yeah, you know, I don't think about sort of the result as much. You know what I mean? Like you know, I guess that's just a result thing. So I just play it as it is. You know what I mean? And then you know, when you watch it back, then you'd think, you know, oh, you know. But I think that, you know, just as far as playing him, just the confidence, I really learned a lot, like, in doing that role, and I had such joy in creating it, and you know, to go all kinds of different directions, and people would, I don't know, man, I really cared a lot, you know what I mean? So I think, like, you know, just trying to make it as good as I can, you know what I mean? And just as an actor, like, just being able to make that for you guys, like, that's the takeaway for me.
Appreciate it. Because
Yeah.
the way you care about the character, we can see that, and we're able to care just as much. And I just want to thank you for bringing him to life in that way.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, 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 yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
We got one more for you.
Do we?
Yes, one more.
Hi. So one of the surprises of the season is pilot's uniform aside, Logan's new look. The character has changed a lot, but so have the expectations for what guys on TV look like. Could you talk a little bit about this aspect of Logan's evolution?
As far as a physical nature?
Yeah.
Have you seen
on, we all
hashtag
know it
Swole
is.
Logan trending on Twitter?
No, no. I wish I could have had those shoes in the beach scene, though. Yeah, I mean, I just figured military, and Rob doesn't write anything in particular, like, about how you should look or anything like that. So, you know, I just sort of on a side project taken, like, an interest in, like, you know, just, you know, more of the, well, whatever. This is lame. But, yeah, I mean, I those shorts were tight. What can I say? Yeah, I'm going to give them to Percy so he can auction them for charity so they can go to a good cause.
Well, we've got to let you go, but I want everyone to give it up for Jason one more time. And make sure to binge watch all the new episodes of Veronica Mars on Hulu. Let's keep it going for him.
Thank you, guys.